Welcome back to the Scorpio channel. We getting ready for Halloween. It's our season. It's the best time of the year. That's what I feel like. It's the best time of the year. And I don't know, a lot of people like Christmas. I love Halloween. It's just, there's something mysterious about Halloween, obviously, and Scorpios are mysterious. They're deep, they're emotional, right? When we think of Halloween, it stirs up emotion. So I just feel like it's our season. Anyway, for those of you that are new to the channel, my name is Laura, and I'm going to do a general message for Scorpio. Know that energy is fluid, rules could be reversed. Just interpret the message as it best resonates with you. Also, know on this channel, I like to dive deep within the reading, so I look at everything, but we take more time to look at the spiritual blocks, the shadows, to see how they play out as karmic themes, to help you understand why everything's playing out the way that it is, right? I want to know that when we're dealing with people that, do one thing, say something else, stir up emotions within us, trigger us. They're supposed to make us feel safe. They don't make us feel safe. Again, it's almost like being with an oxymoron. Everything is like a paradox. When things are good, things are great, and when things are horrible, they're miserable, right? I mean, because there's that soul connection, and so those soul connections all about s- learning. Really, if you want to really know it, it's about learning, it's about healing. It's the soul connections help us to revert back to our original energy, which is unconditional love. So the shadows are parts of ourselves that we rejected, detached, disassociated from. And again, how else would we know what we needed healing? We detach. We don't remember, we repress. We suppress, then we repressed. And that's the thing. That energy is, we feel like is a part of us when really it's not. The perception is. If you grew up in a certain environment and all you knew was to live in survival mode, you'd say, well, that's just the way that I am. I'm an anxious person. I've always been anxious. But it's your conditioning. It's that your environment wires you, and it wires you how you think, and how you think is going to determine your actions, your behaviorisms, your habits, and all of it, most of it, I shouldn't say all of it, but most of it is unconscious. So you're teaching people unconsciously how to treat you all the time. So it's really important to heal. All right. Anything of any importance or relevance to the channel, you know where to find it. It is in the description box. If you haven't signed up for this Psychic Soul Shadow Healing Coaching Program, you definitely want to, because right now there's not that many people in it, and it's almost like you get private coaching. And when there is a group on, it's fun. It's really fun to be interactive, where everyone, you're not just getting healing from me, you're getting healing from the group. And I think that that's important because a lot of times we go through traumatic experiences by ourselves and we try to talk to people, and but people don't identify. So when people don't identify, then there's a sense that we feel like not safe. I feel like our friend can only hold space for so long. They're only going to hear about your bad relationship so long before they start to want to change the subject, you know, that start to make you feel bad for like still being stuck on a person. When a lot of times it's not that we're stuck on a person, we're stuck on what happened, like why it happened the way that it has. If we can see why things are the way that they are, we can then look at things from a different perception. And a lot of times, that's all that it takes for you to break a karmic connection. And those karmic connections where you're connected to someone energetically, but they're not giving anything. In fact, they're just draining because when you think about them, you get annoyed. Well, again, we want to know how to shape shift the energy because you don't want to be connected to someone that can makes you feel bad. You want to heal that energy. Again, to the energy that connected you to that person to begin with, because they represent that. They represent healing. Now, not all the time. Sometimes people are good and they just need healing, but the majority of times not, because when a person has that negative energy inside of them for so long, that energy just becomes, worse and more dense and more dense. So the ego gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So the person's living more from, their that self, the lower energies. So the character isn't going to be good because when persons like in their ego, it's all about them, right? What's good for them. All right. Let's see what the underlying energy is. Now, if you like the video, give it a like, subscribe to the channel. It's good karma. And be interactive with the channel because that's the way that you show me love. Okay. Now, the underlying energy is nervousness. I always like to do a little other one next to it from a different deck. Disassociated. I feel like you've been in separation from someone for a long time, and they played a lot of games, and they tried to make you nervous, but the thing is that it didn't make you nervous at all. If anything, you wound up disassociating from them. You detached, you disassociated because I feel like you're someone that needs to connect on an emotional level. You need to feel safe. That's just something that you've learned about yourself. You might have grown up in a traumatic environment, where there was a lot of not like there wasn't any stable. You felt like there wasn't any stability in how you grew up. It could be you had to raise yourself for some of you. Can have watched your parents have a bad relationship. Again, our stability comes from pretty much the way that we were raised. And I feel like you grew up in this type of environment, and you're like, one thing that you know about yourself is that you need to emotionally connect. That's how you feel safe. And I feel like this person is somebody that is normally disassociated from their feelings. And I feel like the whole time that they had an opportunity to really be with you and get to know you, they avoided you and they were really detached from their feelings. They didn't treat you warmly, I feel like, because I feel like it triggered fear inside of them. So yes, they felt like that it was always a spiritual connection. Yes. And understand a spiritual connection is something that's felt not just with one person, but both parties. But the whole time you were dealing with this person, I feel like they were very self-righteous. They were very cocky. And in that you felt like you weren't being valued and that your feelings went ignored. So again, this person was self-righteous when it came to what the things that you needed in the connection. And you just had enough of their bad temper and disrespect. So I feel like this person was very moody, bipolar. Like one day they would be really nice and loving and warm, and then one day they'd be really distant. And then you would ask them if everything was fine, and they would like snap out. They would be like mad, like almost like you're prying. This person would get triggered a lot by things that they really shouldn't have gotten triggered by, like if you just ask this person a question, or you said, let's go to dinner, let's go to lunch, let's create some sort of intimacy. You didn't say that, but that's what you're doing when you're extending like an invitation to go to lunch or to actually do something, to create a memory. This person was like, you're controlling me. Like it got like, I don't know. Like at first they would give you the runaround. I don't know. Let me think about it, or let me check my schedule. When meanwhile, you knew that they had time. It's not that they didn't have time. It was that it was a lot of song and dance. And then when you were like, well, what's going on? Because I don't want to sit here and hold myself up because you felt like this person wasn't would never make a decision. Like they wouldn't say, yes, let's go to lunch. Yes, they would song and dance and oh, I'll let you know and a lot. And then when you say, well, what's going on? They'd get triggered. And this person had a hard time of letting go of the past and the fears that are associated with it. So they manifest in chaos within the relationship. And I feel like you also had a bit of that because you can't attract a person that, has that unless you have a little bit of that. Now, does that mean that you act on it the way that this person does? No, some people internalize. They internalize and they just don't say anything and they live very safe. Where this person goes out and they try and be in a relationship, but because they haven't healed, everything's a trigger. And so, yes, there is a spiritual connection, but this person doesn't like feeling powerless. And when it's a real connection, they feel powerless. So you say, well, the nervousness. But I feel like, again, there's a fine line between love and hate. Well, there's also when people have a lot of trauma around, intimacy, which is just trust, which that usually that attachment style happens in childhood, obviously. And so, you know, any time that there was abandonment or there was shame or rejection or this person was made to hold to a certain standard, which they obviously never could reach because it was not an unrealistic expectation that the parent would actually put on that child. So the child feels inadequate and hasn't really been able to you know, develop themselves 100%, create themselves, so they never really create a boundary and they don't communicate. So that's the thing, that like the deep emotion triggers this person. So it's just easier to keep you out. Again, where you're like asking for intimacy, you're asking for closeness, and this person's getting triggered by it. Now that doesn't mean that sometimes that they wouldn't just pop up, and when they wanted to. And that's why it's a little bit bipolar, where it's like you never knew what you were going to get. And that happens from severe trauma. Person, again, is self-righteous, which is the mask. The mask of, I'm confident, but the person really isn't confident. And so what happens is that you just got tired of enough of their abusiveness, the psychological and emotional abuse. And you finally got to a place where you said, I'm not going to hurt. I'm not going to continue to let to hurt me. We have to see, where are they now? What are they doing now? And what is happening now? And then how do they feel? Again, well, again, stressed out, and that's pretty much the energy of nervousness. The bad question. I feel like it triggered this person, and it's triggered them, in a way where they've been rejected before. And understand this person, they were the one that created that. You did not just abandon this person. This person created a lot of games and chaos within the relationship. So in order for you to like save yourself, you had to like set boundaries. This person again sees it as rejection. And again, it brings them back to having anxiety. So they're stressed and they have anxiety because they don't know what to do. And it's like, and they don't know what to do because they put the relationship like almost like in a competition. And it's a competition because this person wanted control. And so what they're doing, they're impulsive in their action. And so when you're watching them, you're going to see that they're very lazy. However, the impulsiveness usually ties up to addictive behavior. That where what this person where what they were showing is that they, feel very intimidated and they're in their old habits. The old habits could just be the way that they think, right? So habits, the way that they were taught how to think. And I feel like it triggered this person. It triggered this person. Where did I pull? I thought I pulled parents, family, something where, it triggered that. Again, more and more, that made them feel inadequate because you actually put a boundary onto this person. Yeah, parents. So I knew I saw that because I was like, wait a minute. So this person, like, I feel like the way that they grew up is the way that they've been conditioned. So relationships pretty much don't work out. And so by you doing what you did, which is pretty much, you know, say I had enough. I had enough of your psychological and emotional abuse of manipulating me and not really giving me anything and just kind of toying with me. I don't really even know why you're keeping me around. By you taking your power back, like it triggered this person, but it triggered them into their trauma, and they don't know how to fix the relationship, and they also don't know how to fix the trauma that created, the way that they think. So it just makes them feel inadequate, like there's something wrong with me. I'm not good enough. Now, a person's not going to like show you that. They're going to show you again that they're confident, self-righteous, or try to again create the illusion and act like they're in competition. But the laziness comes from so much anxiety, so much nervousness, because this person doesn't know. It's almost like they created this false persona and hopes that you would see them as strong or confident, and it's like they overdid it. So again, they create this persona because of the lack and the insecurity and the feeling of inadequacy that this person really feels about themselves. So they feel that way. It's not that they didn't have a connection to you, but to have such deep feelings when a person already feels inadequate and doesn't like who they are, they're automatically going to say, oh my God, this is a real relationship. I have feelings for you and I don't like who I am. So you're not going to like who I am. As soon as you see who I am, you're not going to like who I am. So you're going to reject me. So this person is always in that state. It doesn't show that they're walking around that way. They're not saying that. They're in their old habits. And their old habits, like generated all the way back since the beginning of time, what they were conditioned to. So now that, you didn't fall for their little plan and it backfired, it's like they're in this place of like victimhood because it's like now you're being so harsh on me. You're not talking to me. When really, like it's again, they're stuck in their trauma because on some level you represent that. And you represent that because they really had feelings for you. This was a soulmate connection. But instead of this person like really like being open to it, they flipped out on it. They're afraid of losing you all the time. And it's because the chemistry is off the hook. However, they have too many unhealthy habits and behaviorisms. And so even though that there is a telepathic bond, they are ashamed of how they treated you. This person is actually going through an awakening right now, and they get emotional when they think of you because there's still passion and desire, but they know that they have unwittingly sabotaged this connection. And that's the thing, because they created this stupid persona, like they don't care, like they're gonna keep you out, that, that they're so macho, that they're so strong, that they didn't need you, that this person almost like lived in a fantasy of, this is a destined connection because they felt it like almost like you would put up with anything. But the rose-colored glasses came off. But this person, like I said, really wants to know, will you give them a second chance? And I feel like this person's gonna come back and they're gonna come back begging. They're gonna come back like really upset. They feel abandoned and often feel like others let them down. So that's been a reoccurring pattern. That's why I'm saying this person's like, once you get close to me, you're probably gonna leave me because everybody leaves. Nobody stays. I need to be strong in who I am before I can merge you with your energy in the 3D. I'm afraid I can lose myself in the relationship. So this relationship is making this person actually do some healing work, because that really is, they would lose themselves. They would be codependent. And that's the thing. There's nothing worse for this person than being codependent and then being abandoned, because that's what's happened to them before, that they've been abandoned. But with you, it would really kill them because there's really a connection. I'm going through a dark night of the soul. Nothing in my life is making sense. I know the universe works in mysterious ways, but sometimes I judge the situation instead of surrender to it, and they know that this union needs healing and needs clearing. So they're like, I'm sorry, please forgive me. I love you. I'm grateful for you. So again, like you both need to do like healing. But really, there's an opportunity for the relationship to transform. This person either way is transforming due to this situation, whether you're with them or not, but you were the catalyst to help them do that. Um, you always have free will, obviously. But spirit says that relationship, but spirit says you ain't both incarnated together to clear specific patterns from your ancestral bloodline. And obviously, this person is conflicted right now about whether it takes that whether they're good enough to be your partner because they know that they're not. That's why they did what they did. They know that. But the relationship is making them do the healing work that they need to do, that they wouldn't volunteer to do. No, because again, healing doesn't feel good. And they're stuck and stupid. Like I said, like that's when a person has so much anxiety and they're so nervous and they're so overstimulated, they look lazy. And it's again because they don't know what to do. Again, I've never felt love like this before. The depths of it is inspiring but overwhelming. Love like ours can change the world. I wish I could say what I really feel. Someday I will, but right now I'm afraid to be myself. So this person is still healing, but they're realizing who you are and they're in regret for how they treated you and not giving you the respect and the caring that you deserved when they had the opportunity. This person, like I said, overcompensated. It was like they got triggered. They tried to create that facade, and that's the problem. When we try to emulate something, and we don't really know what it is, we're either going to overcompensate or undercompensate. And this person overcompensated. Well, they came across kind of like an ass, like an asshole, like I don't care, like look at me. I'm so emotional and intelligent by not showing any emotion at all, being a robot. It was all a facade. And so you have to say, right now it's not really even important like what they're going to do, because it pushed them into a place of healing. They're not like even remotely ready to come towards you. And so if this is a twin flame connection, you have to understand a lot of healing takes place in separation for both parties. And so, and that's where at least this person is stepping into the right energy, right? The divine energy. They're becoming more compassionate. They want to do the healing. They want to better themselves. They probably wouldn't even be looking at anything spiritual if it wasn't for you making them want to change. And well, I want to be with you, but I don't want to lose myself in you because I've had that happen before. And you would just kill me. You would break me because I really do care. And there's a caring there, and I can feel the connection. It's almost like they sabotage the connection. They at least recognize that. Three, okay, four, five, six. So we pull six. These are the inner child wounds. You have to say, why did you attract this person into your life? Whether you're going to be with them or not, the universe doesn't really care. The universe just uses people to help heal. And so you help this person heal. How did they help you heal? What are the energies here? Look at this. Oppression, suppression, safety and security, unworthy, neglect, and discipline. Well, right there, they didn't give you the time. Again, you felt kept out, right? Unworthy. You felt undervalued. They definitely didn't give you safety and security because would flip out, again, with their anger and disrespect. And it was their way of suppressing you and then again controlling you. And that's the thing. You wound up being in a place of saying, I'm not going to settle for this toxic behavior. I'm going to put the energy into myself because this isn't healthy. Emotionally, I'm not getting what I need. And I know I'm the type of person that emotionally needs to be taken care of. So I know I can do that for myself. I'd rather have nobody in my life than someone that's abusive in my life. This person didn't realize that the persona that they created came across as abusive until after. They overcompensated. And that's because they have a second chakra imbalance. So you put the time and the energy into yourself. Again, Spirit says you didn't have the discipline. See, you grew up in an environment where you were neglected, you were made to feel unworthy, and that was because you were suppressed and oppressed. So again, forcefully, again, like made to do what the environment wanted you to do. And and if the environment didn't like how you were representing yourself too, well, that was going to be squashed. And that's why I said suppressed and oppressed. So children have their unique unfoldment process, but if they're made to feel unworthy all the time, they're going to hide. They're going to isolate. They're not going to share their gifts. They're not going to be able to even find their gifts. So because there was no safety and security. So you didn't feel safe, you didn't security. So the healing that needs to be done is the reparenting, which is you have to give yourself the safety and security by doing something that makes you feel worthy. Again, that's how you're going to emotionally give yourself, and that's how your freedom of expression and your creative genius will come forth where it won't be suppressed anymore. And again, it will take on a new shape, a new form that will actually exceed the not just the oppression but the original expression that you had. So it will be something that your freedom of expression or who you are or how you create yourself will not just be like this is my little side hobby, this is my side gig. It will be something that you share on a collective level. So it could be cause to saving the animals, it could be towards helping people, to creating something. But again, and that you just needed to discipline yourself, showing up for yourself. Mastery comes in doing. So again, many of us masters start off as disasters. So again, we have to be grounded enough and disciplined enough to, work through the bumps, work through the difficult parts, because finding ourselves is a process. Finding our style is a process. Creating ourselves is a process. And so Spirit says, so that's why you attracted this person into your life, because you were suppressed and repressed and neglected and made to feel unworthy as a child. So we transmute that negative energy. We're the alchemists of our life. The alchemist into our life is, Spirit says, first of all, listen to the whispers of your soul guiding you. Just align your actions to your values. You're supposed to be listening to your higher self. And that means when you have to feed a passion. You have to want to invest your time somewhere. And that's the mustard seed that you plant. And if you are disciplined, where you tend to that seed, it obviously can become a garden, is what that's pretty much saying. So your soul's calling, happens actually when you are on it. So Spirit's saying, understand that this experience just happened so that you could let go of who you were to realize who you are. There are certain experiences that we have to actually go through that help us heal. Why Spirit says that's why they were just a stepping stone. It's again, so be patient with yourself. Each small step brings you closer to not just overcoming your fears, but evolving back into your original energy of unconditional love. And it's all through being able to release the limiting beliefs that no longer serve you. Sometimes we have to go through an experience to really see ourselves differently, to solidify the intention, to really feel it. If that trauma is really in there where we're like, oh, I've lived more experiences of failure or of loss, well, we have to again go through an experience in order to see ourselves again winning. We have to see ourselves actually winning, to actually be able to embody it, to be able to feel it. And so the Spirit's saying, we release the limiting beliefs that no longer serve you, to free yourself from those, again, perceptions of the past. Because really, there's infinite possibilities, boundless opportunities when you release fear. So fulfill the promise to yourself by seeing beyond the illusion. And the illusion is what other people want to perceive of you, what that person made you perceive of yourself, which isn't true. We're not our experiences. We're not what someone else does. We're not our possessions. We get to choose. And we get to choose by becoming that expression of love. And Spirit says, envision a brighter future filled with potential and opportunity. See your own genius. Understand if you were neglected, if you were suppressed and oppressed, you don't even know your full potential. And that's why it's like, don't be stuck with that person. That person would have kept you small. They would have did the same exact thing, neglected you. And Spirit says, move on to brighter horizons. But it will require to take a leap of faith, take bold steps, even if the path is not fully visible. Risk is going to be rewarding at this time. Why? Because you chose yourself. And when you choose yourself, the universe says yes, because you're then in the energy of loving yourself. Remember the shadows of parts of ourselves that we rejected, that we didn't like, and that person that you got connected to that gave so little, that tried to make you feel so bad, was actually a reflection of what needed to be healed in you, which allows you then to be able to see beyond the illusion. And then you can obviously envision brighter horizons full of opportunities and potential. And we leave off with one more, which is Here and now, only in the now do you get divine guidance through gut, intuition, inner knowing. And Spirit says, know this, the future does not exist and the past is gone. Focus on the present moment. Have confidence in life again. Because here now there is no danger. Everything happens when your soul is ready. So even though this connection could keep you in a place of ruminating, Spirit says, choose to focus on the healing. Choose to focus on the gift that it gave and that you never lose. You only learn. Sometimes you win, but a lot of times you learn, and that's okay too, because learning allows you to become closer to your original energy of unconditional love so you can attract your perfect person when you are healed. And that will always happen in divine time. I'm going to leave it there. Let me know how you resonated, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye bye.